so good. You're doing so good.
I just want to say, everyone will suffer. Do you remember worried?
It's an after party tonight.
The FBI just dropped some bombshell revelations, and this one has Diddy and Ashton Kutcher's names all over it. According to the latest reports, the two allegedly manipulated actress Daveigh Chase, yes, Samara from The Ring, into some shady behind-the-scenes dealings for their secret Freak0ff parties. The details are wild, the connections are messy, and y'all are not ready for what's coming next. Alright, so check this out. Daveigh Chase, born July 24th, 1990 in Vegas, was pretty much destined for the spotlight. She grew up in Oregon, and from the jump you could tell this girl had that performer vibe. By 7 years old, she was already out here auditioning. Now her parents definitely played a part in putting her on that path, but let's be real, Daveigh had that natural drive too. She started off doing commercials and local theater gigs, not even knowing her big break was right around the corner. Once she started auditioning in LA, it was game on.
What are we gonna do?
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 Things popped off quick. She got into voice acting for animated cartoons, and here's the kicker. She's literally the voice of Lilo from Lilo and Stitch. She was a big deal back then. Honestly, if we had social media back in the day, her name would probably still be buzzing today. Daveigh's career didn't stop with animation. This girl was out here showing range. She popped up in TV classics like Charmed and ER, proving she could hold her own in live action too. But her real big screen moment came in 2001 when she starred in Donnie Darko as Samantha Darko. That movie is a cult classic, and her role really put her on the map. She even came back to reprise the role in 2009. But before we get into that, we have to talk about 2002 and her game-changing role in The Ring. At just 12 years old, her performance was straight up haunting. She became an icon in horror cinema after that. It's impossible to think about scary movies from that era and not think about Samara. Even though she was young, her talent had everybody talking, and little me hiding under the covers. Over the years, Daveigh kept switching it up, diving into all kinds of roles, and even music for a bit. It's giving Hollywood powerhouse in the making. She revisited her Donnie Darko role in 2009, but then things got quiet for a while. She didn't pop back up until 2016 with American Romance, a low-budget thriller about a serial killer. Critics weren't feeling it, though. They called it dull and just plain gross. American Romance was Daveigh's last major leading role, and since then, her acting career seems to have hit pause. That's got people wondering if she quietly stepped away from Hollywood altogether. Honestly, though, making it as far as she did after starting as a child star, that's already a big win. Most don't get that far. But now Daveigh's name is back in the spotlight after all these years, and not for the best reasons. It's all tied to some messy Diddy and Ashton Kutcher headlines. There's this video that's been resurfacing from the 2003 MTV Music Awards, where Diddy is seen inviting a 13-year-old Daveigh to an after party. Yeah, that kind of party. And let's be real, the words Diddy and party in the same sentence? These days, people automatically think freak-offs. Anyway, in the clip, Diddy approaches Daveigh after she wins Best Villain for her role in The Ring and casually asks if she wants to hit up an after-party. At first glance, it might seem harmless, like he's just being playful. But now, knowing what we know about the allegations against Diddy, including that horrifying lawsuit claiming he assaulted a 13-year-old girl just 3 years before that event, it's a whole different story. Like, if Daveigh did go to that party, what on earth could have gone down? This is beyond concerning, and honestly, the whole situation feels hella dark. Now that Diddy's lawsuits are piling up, this old video is hitting different. Social media is buzzing, and people are straight up disgusted, calling the interaction sick and gross. Like, why is a grown man hyped about asking a literal child to an after party? The whole vibe is weird. One person said, WTF, who asks a 13-year-old to an after party? Plus, Ashton always gave me weird vibes, like the clean-cut guy that has a dark side, psycho type of shit. Daveigh was such a talented actress with an impressive lineup of roles, and now people are hoping she was protected from whatever could have gone down that night. Here's the thing, Daveigh is an adult now, but she's kept quiet about this video and her experiences with Diddy. Still, the creepy nature of that invite has folks revisiting the culture of Hollywood parties, especially how young stars were treated back in the day. Influencer or celeb-adjacent events can get shady real fast. We've all seen parties with minors showing up with their parents, and it's just weird. Like, why are they even here? Sure, the mom might be standing in the corner sipping a drink, but it still feels off. And that's with a chaperone. Now imagine a Hollywood party where some moms might be off mingling with the grown folks, leaving their teenage kids to fend for themselves. That's the vibe this Diddy video gives. It's wild to think this whole situation played out in front of the world. on TV, and nobody batted an eye back then. Knowing what allegedly went on at Diddy's after parties makes this even nastier. People have every right to feel outraged, especially considering how young and vulnerable Daveigh was at the time. But Diddy isn't the only weirdo in this case. Ashton is too. People have spoken and the comment sections are flooded online. Not only Diddy, but they should investigate Ashton too. You see, Ashton Kutcher is like controversy central with these guys. He's been catching heat left and right, especially after this old interview popped up where he's hyping up Diddy's parties, saying they were the best of his life but being all cryptic about what went down. Oh, and let's not forget, guests had to sign NDAs that apparently banned them from talking until 20 years after Diddy dies. Like, what's even happening at these parties that needs that level of secrecy? Ashton's messy history doesn't help either. People are mad about how, back when he was 19, he kissed a 14-year-old Mila Kunis on set without asking, because Danny Masterson bet him $20. And let's not even get into that old video of him talking about Hilary Duff and the Olsen twins turning 18.
Duff is in Lizzie McGuire. She also has an album out. She's going to be in a movie called Cheaper by the Dozen. And she's one of the girls that we're all waiting for to turn 18. Along with the Olsen twins. Any 15-year-old ends up getting
Hilary Duff. Fast forward, now Ashton's name is being dragged into this resurface story about Diddy inviting a 12-year-old Daveigh Chase to his parties. Like, what even is this connection? But let's switch gears because Daveigh's own story is just as wild. Things took a turn after her career slowed down. She starred in this movie, American Romance, that flopped hard, and by 2017, her life started unraveling. In August of that year, she got arrested for drug possession, which hinted at deeper struggles. Then in November, things got even darker when she was questioned about a man's death. She wasn't charged, but she was arrested for an unrelated warrant. Oh, and let's talk about the joyriding situation, because apparently that's still a thing. She got a felony charge for taking someone's car without permission. Like, girl, what is going on? Then in 2018, she kept racking up charges, including possession and skipping court dates, which led to warrants being issued for her arrest. It's honestly sad to see how far she's fallen. From being a child star in major movies to this spiral of legal troubles, it just makes you wonder what really went on behind the scenes all these years. Daveigh Chase's story is such a sad, complicated one. It's clear that her struggles are heavily tied to addiction. Like, honestly, this girl needed rehab and support, not jail time. Since all this went down, she's pretty much disappeared from the public eye. No red carpets, no paparazzi photos, and her social media has been completely silent since 2017. It's like she just vanished, and no one really knows where she is or how she's doing. This whole situation really highlights how dangerous fame can be for young stars. Hollywood doesn't exactly do a great job of protecting kids in the industry, and Daveigh's story is just another example of how things can go left. She was working non-stop as a kid, and when the roles dried up, it seems like real life hit her hard. Fame 1 minute, forgotten the next. It's a brutal cycle. Now get this, someone actually reached out on Instagram claiming they were friends with Daveigh and had all this inside tea about what's been going on with her. They were like, oh, I have juicy details, let's talk. But then, nothing. Crickets. The most recent clip we've seen of her is heartbreaking. She clearly didn't want to be filmed, and you can tell she's not in a great place. People really need to respect boundaries, especially when someone's obviously struggling. Seeing her like that is such a harsh reminder of how far things have spiraled. Her story makes you wonder, was she just so consumed by the demands of being a child star that she never really got the chance to grow into adulthood? Like, no normal school, no regular friendships, no time to figure out who she was outside of acting. That kind of environment can seriously mess with your development. And when the fame stops, you're left to deal with life without the tools you need to cope. Addiction is a broader issue for sure, but the child star factor definitely complicates things. If Daveigh ever wanted to tell her story, it'd be so powerful. Like, can you imagine the insight she'd bring? Hopefully she's okay wherever she is, and maybe one day she'll share her side of what really happened. As for Diddy and Ashton, things are not looking great of them either. Diddy and Ashton Kutcher are both catching heat, but Diddy's situation is on another level right now. Ashton is facing backlash for his past comments and actions, like that cringy interview resurfacing where he praised Diddy's infamous parties, saying they were the best of his life but hinting at how wild they were while staying vague. But in comparison, Ashton's controversies are small potatoes compared to what Diddy's dealing with. Diddy is buried under a mountain of lawsuits and allegations that paint a much darker picture. From accusations of abuse and exploitation to claims about his infamous parties where NDAs lock down secrets tighter than a vault, his reputation is unraveling fast. The sheer number of lawsuits and the severity of the claims make it clear that Diddy's not just facing a PR nightmare. This is a legal storm that could derail his entire legacy. If these allegations hold any weight, we're looking at serious consequences, not just for his career, but potentially his freedom too. What do you think? Is Diddy going to end up behind bars for life? And was Daveigh perhaps really at one of his Freak0ff parties? Let us know about it down in the comment section. And before you go, make sure to check this video out too.